everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode from the Lair. And you guys have been sending me some good questions, email and on comments under the video, so I really like that. Somebody brought this up when I was talking about Recon the Mother, and it was one of the other videos in regards to the woman faking she's pregnant by eating too much, and she tells you she's gaining weight because she's pregnant, but she's just pulling the pin on the fat grenade. And I call this the false flag attack, you know what I mean? Because once you think you're slipping by the goalie, then you just go ahead and do what you do, and before you know it, she is fat and pregnant, which is, you know, a game of diminishing returns. Here's a good one here. Baby rabies is an urban legend. You don't know shit. Okay, well, I don't know if there's any studies out there in regards to baby rabies, but anecdotally, I've seen it a lot. I've heard it a lot, and I really think that when women get, you know, over north of 30, you know, and their waxworks is drying up there, and it sounds like crinkle up cellophane, they kind of get a little desperate and want to throw a bun in the oven no matter who it is, so there you go, baby rabies. They'll bite you and it costs you, you know, 21 years worth of child support. Okay, somebody want to know what calculation I did that I used for child support. All right. I think they wanted a specific state. I didn't really use the state calculator because I've actually analyzed 2 or 3, I think, no, 5 of them. And they're all a little different, and they go about getting to their calculations differently. But they just really take your disposable income, which is 35 or 40% of your gross pay. So, you know, anybody who pays child support out there knows that they probably can't buy a house under VA, FHA, or conventional because all of your disposable income is tied up going to support children that don't live under your roof, and you can't even afford to get one if you could. So, there you go. You want to get a house when you're divorced? Lie, cheat, and steal. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Okay, with the courts in favor of women and men walking away, what do you think? When do you think it'll change? It'll change when there's a huge goddamn bloodbath, when we run out of money, and you get to see people's true nature, because, you know, we've had it too easy here, and we think, you know, oh, it can never happen here. It's so, yeah, right. Take away the money, take away the gas, take away the food. 72 hours later, it's every man for himself. So you can say you would never do that, but I've experienced that kind of hunger, and hunger sucks. With women only into men for their money, and this is how it's been forever, so women are whores by nature? Well, a whore, you know, which is a horizontal oriented entertainer, engages in that kind of activity for money. Then you have the halfway hooker, who is basically the wife who punches out, you know, 10 years or less for the paycheck. And you know, it's also proven that, you know, as men get older and they get more resources, they get a bigger pool of women to choose from, because the power and resources that could turn a guy who's a solid 5 into an 8.5, 9. Just ask Arnold Schwarzenegger. That rat bastard. Okay, this guy brought up this point, and I'm going to use this, you know, in the future. So I'm just letting you know right now that this was very good. It was basically 2 sentences, which sums up the red pill MGTOW movement. If women are not going to give you the best years of their lives, then why should you settle for their worst? There you go. So again, OPP, old, poor, and powerless. It is what it is. So, like, a lot of these feminists out there who are trying to change the world to fit their feelings, you know, and they fooled pretty much everybody. There's a few people out there who are just lost and they're fooled forever. But at the end of the day, when you're like north of 40, you can never fool the universe, bitches. Just remember that when you're eating cat food. Why do I push for men not to get married? We will perish from the earth because of it. You are preaching selfishness and hate. First of all, I really don't use the word hate. I think I've used it when I'm about cats or something like that, or I hate certain situations, but I don't really hate anybody in particular. Okay, and for me to actually hate something, I have to expend to give a fuck, and I really have a hard time producing any more than I need right now, so I'm not expending, you know, any give a damns, shits, or fucks on this at all. Okay, now in regards to selfishness, well, if you are drowning and the guy next to you is drowning and you can grab onto, I don't know, something that will keep you from drowning, you'll do it before you go over and help that guy, because it's self-preservation. Self-preservation is not technically selfishness, it's just an innate thing that's built into everybody. The system we have now, we've now had, like, I've seen the craziness. We've seen our fathers, our grandfathers, uncles, everyone just wrecked by this goddamn system, and there is no upside to it anymore, other than you get some kids. But if you don't get to live with them, then what's the point? You know, they just turn you into a slave. You know, if you don't, just read the 14th Amendment, protection against indentured servitude. If half your population is getting alienated and destroyed for no particular great reason, and you realize when you go into the casino, the games are rigged, and if you stay in the house, or you stay on the floor too long, the house always wins. So what happens? They just take their bag of coins, walk out the door, throw a couple in the pond out front, wish for it to change, and then ride off into the sunset, the big middle finger behind them. And I don't blame them at all. Okay, do you think the government will punish single men in the future, i.e. bachelor tax? Okay. Yes, this will happen down the road when it gets really, really bad. When there's nobody, the family, like, I don't know, the bedrock of the family's already destroyed. But when the men just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm out. I'm just gonna work this part-time job, feed my hole, have fun, and then the government's gonna crack down on them because they're not, you know, meeting their potential. And I really think that's going to happen. I don't think we'll ever go for the legalization of polygamy. Feminists just won't have that, even though they're a bunch of hypocrites. And I mean, if it keeps going the way it is, 25 years from now, it's going to be a whole different America, and I'll be dead. What is my opinion on the term man up? Well, when it's used by a feminist, man up is a shaming term. Okay, like if somebody tells you to man up and get married and do all this other bullshit, they're just trying to shame you to stick in your head in the yoke so you can be like harnessed like a slave. And you know, they can fuck off. There are some circumstances in your life where that does apply. Like, say you blow a tire on the freeway, you know, you're sitting in there, you're like, oh god damn it, I gotta man up and go change the tire, and you do it. Another a good term for man up is defending your house and your loved ones. I mean, you're a dude. You're built by nature to have, you know, bigger muscles, more endurance, bigger hearts, and faster. And you know, and if you sit at home forever and get an Xbox body or nothing but a walking walrus, you're not manning up. But there's a lot of guys out there who could probably benefit from a little manning up. Just saying. Do I get lonely? Okay, hang on. This is an interesting one. Okay. I got divorced in 2008. Had a couple of like relationships before that. All of them ended poorly. And after my divorce, I dated this woman for maybe 18 months. And, you know, that didn't work out either. And I realized that the only thing in this equation that has not changed is me. Apparently I was in like the pain mind, where I was just jumping from one relationship to the next without ever recovering and not learning anything from the whole goddamn experience. So I took some advice from my sensei out there in Seattle, Washington, and he said, hey man, just take 7 years off. Take 7 years off, don't have any relationships. If it falls in your lap, fine. But just, you know, take 7 years off. And at the end of 7 years, I can almost guarantee you your perspective on life will be completely different. And he's absolutely correct. You know, at first, you know, it was pretty lonely. It is what it is. I mean, we're social animals. I still have really good friends. I have probably 4 or 5 friends who I could go to their house any time of the night, knock on it, tell them to bring a shovel, help me bury a body, and they would do it. That makes me a wealthy fucking man right there. A lot of guys don't have that at all. But you know, I didn't get the wife, which is cool. I'll probably do it on my next go around. You know, and I'm sure I'm gonna miss my first review and get sent back here to, you know, redo this whole goddamn thing again. Shit. But another thing that helps out with the loneliness is you have to be able to make friends with yourself. Okay? And when you're alone, if you have to turn on the radio or have the TV on, so you're running from something, and it's nothing in the house other than you. So you have to be comfortable in your own head. All right? And that's just the way it is. Another thing that helps too are projects. You know, a lot of people I know do projects to burn the time, or hobbies. Hobbies are great. They're usually the first thing to go in a relationship because the significant other thinks they're a waste of money, but they are not, because they actually help maintain your sanity. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I love this one here. If cloning and artificial wombs can be used, would you? Well, at my age now, probably not. 10 years ago, fuck yes, I would, because that piece of equipment that you rent that you think is yours is not. You just get your crack at it and get a turn on it. That's it. And then it's goddamn expensive after it. It's like an insurance policy that gets more expensive every year you go. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't have a problem with that. And I think if they do come up with an artificial womb, there's a lot of women in the West that are going to be bumming, because their track habit, their habits, and the shit they've been doing for the past 50 years, I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. Okay, here's another one. This was by a special snowflake. I'll read it to you. By how you act and what you say, you obviously voted for Trump. I cannot believe you're such a bigot. All your videos drip with hate. Okay, and again, I've never used the word hate other than cats and situations. Did I vote for Trump? No. I voted for the Republican Party. So when I walked in there, I just flipped Republican and left out. It's not my fault the Republicans ran him. It is what it is. I have some reservations about the guy, but guess what? He's the president now. I've sworn oaths. He's the guy in the round room. That's the way it is. You know, we have the system's been working for quite some time, and let it continue to keep going. Shit ain't free. It costs a lot, and usually it's bought down the road in a lot of blood and pain. So if you want to sit around and with your thumb jack in your shit box doing nothing and bitching, fuck off, get a career, pay some taxes. Goddamn gunch. Okay, you left a comment on Turd Flinging Monkey's page about a team up. When can we see that? Okay, well, I am waiting on equipment to come in. You know, I live poor. I don't have a lot of money, so I'm saving up for it. So I'll probably get this going in the next, 15 to 45 days, hopefully sooner. And we were talking about doing like a Mangina Award of the month, and then at the end of the year having a Mangina Award of the year. And because some of the shit that's going out in the real world, and some of these manginas just need to get pointed out and need to say, what the fuck were you thinking? Were you or were you not in your body when you decided to do or say that? Yes or no? Let's see. Totem, number removed. My mom keeps pressing me to get married and settle down. I'm a 28-year-old male, and I've had several long-term relationships, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. My parents divorced when I was 8 years of age. I saw my father at first a lot, but by 13, he faded out of my life, and I hate him for it. How do I tell my mother to stop? Okay, well, one of the best ways to tell your mother to stop bringing up when you're going to get married and settle down is say, well, Ma, that really worked out for my father now, didn't it? There you go. And yeah, I understand that he faded out around 13. Tried to stay around for 4 or 5 years. That 5-year window is a bitch, man. You know, life goes on. Maybe, you know, he got caught up in some financial issues and he couldn't, you know, come see you. Whatever. Unless he talked to you on the phone and said F off, I don't know who you are. Maybe you should cut the guy a break and go get his side of the story of the whole goddamn thing before you start throwing javelins into his back. Okay? Because let me tell you, being a dude in the Western world with all this horseshit that's going on is fucking hard. Would like me to read 50 Shades of Grey, which I really don't want to do, and then read the dirty parts on camera using your lingo and popisms. Well, that does sound amusing, and if you really want to see that happen, comments below. I don't have a poem for you today. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll have one next time. But keep your head down, wear a rubber, and take it with you when you leave. See ya.